So in my last video, I didn't see it, but I usually do see it. And what I see is I can tell from looking at my monitor, uh, when they're going to affect my speed with something that I'm talking about or reading about, that they don't really want me. They want to let me know that they are totally against what I'm saying at that point, which, if you'll notice, I never stop. Okay. And last time the subject was about Enlil and how he is the bastard. I'm going to call him a bastard because I am pretty sure that the angels are referred to by uh, uh, Enoch as bastards. But you know what? I may be wrong about that. It could be their bastard hybrid children, which are sometimes called Nephilim and then other times called giants. Giants, get it? Giants. Hive mind, reptilian, but, made to look human, like the Anunnaki, interestingly enough, who may be nothing more than fungus. Personally, I sort of see them as worms because they're big-time parasites. Everywhere they go, they do the same thing that they've done here. They're just a bunch of worms and parasites. And if you notice, everywhere you see them, from Prometheus, the dialogue between the tall gray men at the beginning of the movie, where one of them is going to sacrifice himself, on an Earth-like planet. And, they're talking about the fact that they can no longer produce seed. Now, what do they mean by that? That what they're actually meaning to tell you is the only way they can do it is through cloning. So all cloning, just so you know, all cloning goes through them. They're responsible for all of the cloning that goes on because they can't procreate any other way. So when you say, oh, well, we're not really don't, Dolly was, an animal that was cloned and, we don't really have that yet. Maybe we have it, but we just now got it. No. This is what the bastards were doing all the way back, according to the Lost Book of Enki, according to the, tablets found under the city of Nineveh that now reside in the British Museum. Yeah. So I don't want you to be ignorant on this subject. They came here with the sole express purpose of making clones of their MEs. That's why they brought their MEs with them, so that they could specifically do that, make a being that they could communicate with that would have enough admixture of their DNA in it. So it didn't matter whether it was a primate. Didn't matter whether it was a Canaanite lion or wolf. Do you understand? None of this has ever mattered to them. The more wicked the animal, the better. But the problem is, most of these animals did not come from here. Remember, this place was an Eden. There was no murder going on. There was no eating another's rotten flesh, okay? No, this is all before they got here. And when they get here, in their own books, you can see that they're describing this place just exactly like that. So the animals, the primates in this realm were innocent. And now that they've been here for, I don't know, 7,000 years, some of you are going to say 300 million years. BS, okay? They hadn't been here that long. No way. But, you know, 7 years, 7,000 years, 6,000 years, that makes sense. No more than 10 or 11, okay? Anyway, now we've got all of this mixing, which we see at the beginning of Prometheus. And we see that, you know, that isn't helping us. So, you know, what really is this all about? This is all about you getting to choose where you go, where you live, and who you live with, so that if you don't want to live with these evil bastards, you don't have to. But there's a catch. You can't be an evil bastard and get to live with the sheep. That's the catch. So that means you got to, even if you are an evil bastard, you have to clean your dirty ass up. You see how that works? Now, just for the record, whenever I was given whatever rote, do you understand what a rote is? Whatever scroll, okay, like John in Revelation, whatever scroll they put into me that programmed me not to eat animals and to be vehemently, you know, promoting that. Now, yes, I could have lost that by keeping that turkey sandwich that I got the second thought in my head, oh, maybe I could eat turkey. Maybe I could have turkey sandwiches. And I did that for a while. But then I realized turkeys deserve a break too, okay? Pigs deserve a break too. All these animals deserve to have a break. And if your dirty asses weren't constantly hunting them, they wouldn't have no reason to act like they're insane. See, you have made them and us insane because you're not happy being the only retard here. See? So you've made sure that you can make everyone else out to be as wicked as you are, but it's not so. You're not fooling anyone. Okay? Now, I know a lot of these RH positives, you know, don't think that they have any chance of cleaning their dirty ass up, even though many people on this site have come forward and told you. If you're reading the comments, you will see they've come in and they've made an attempt to clean their dirty asses up. Yeah. Did they do that because of their ministers? No, their ministers are leading them right to the rotten flesh. So whatever you say about me, you go ahead and you say whatever you want to. I don't care. You can malign me all that you want to. I'm talking about you who show up here on my site that can't stand the idea of being good. I'm talking about you. You can go ahead and say whatever you want to about me. But I'm not so sure even you would know that it's wrong if I weren't telling you. So if that seed that has been planted that you know it's wrong has been planted in you, I'm okay with that. It is not up to me to so much as clean your dirty ass one time. Not up to me. I don't have to. It's not my job, okay? And I'm not going to do it. But maybe you will. You know, if my daughter can clean herself up after all that she's been through with the god-damned mafia, okay? And I'm going to get on that subject too before this video is over. But if she can do that, you can do it too, okay? You can do it too. So do it. Stop talking, flapping, making words, and just do it, okay? So anyway, I wanted to cover a couple more books. You know, I may not be around. Turns out I may not be around here that much longer. Because remember, we've all been scratching our head going, Christmas? What is this Mystery Babylon BS about the sun dying for 3 days and then it, you know, is resurrected? What is that all about? Mystery Babylon, okay? Because that's where it started. The resurrection. Who's resurrected? Oh, you get it. Oh, okay, yeah, you get woke up and your clone gets reincarnated. Because that's what the Anunnaki are doing in the background. They're making a suitable body for you to live out whatever. But you see how they manipulate everything. Everything. You know, they are the mafia. Let's get that straight. They're the mafia. They're not the white hats. No, there are no white hats in control. No, there's no white hats. If there's any white hat in control here, it's somebody like me. Why? Why am I in control? Because I know that I'm about to put them under my feet once and forever, okay? Till they straighten up. And you can guarantee yourself that they will not get out of being under my feet until they can figure out how to be good. Period. And if they want to go ahead and end their lives for eternity, that's their choice. That is their choice. It is not my choice to do that to them. But I am going to uphold natural law. If you're causing trouble on the earth, you get what you deserve. If you're not causing trouble, if you're not parasiting people, if you're not laying up riches for yourself, if you only think about yourself and you can't think about others, you may be in trouble. Deeper than you can imagine. You may think you've got it figured out while you're here and now. But here and now is not what you think it is. It's a trick so that you will ruin yourself till you snap out of it. Okay. So anyway, I want to talk about some of these books that I read. I don't know how much really the books like the Dead Sea Scrolls. Now, granted, just know that this is basically this is this author's idea about how Paul, okay, was a Roman agent, and for the record, he told you that with his own mouth. Okay, it is written in Acts. He told you he was a Roman. So don't even act like you're surprised when this is over. Your problem is you always let somebody else tell you what to think. And that's a huge problem. But if you want to stay a clown, a clown, a clone, just keep doing that. That's what you'll get to be. Anyway, I'm not so sure how important these books are. Yes, it's important to know that Paul is a false apostle who never was teaching righteousness. Why? Because you can't teach righteousness if you're eating, dead flesh. And see, all the saints know this. All of them. They all know this. If there is such a thing as a saint, they all know that. They know that you can't put nasty, dirty, rotten worms in your temple. So they're not fooled. You're fooled, but they're not fooled. Okay. So, but honestly, all these places where they find these, urns, they don't seem to find many over here. It just doesn't ring true. It just doesn't ring true. Anyway, this is Elizabeth Prophets. This is basically a woman who was a channeler who decided, ooh, I'm gonna rewrite the all of the books of Enoch. I'm gonna rewrite them, and every time they write giant, I'm gonna write, or every time they write, giant, I'm gonna write in there Nephilim. You see what I mean? Who are the Nephilim? They are the children of the O negatives and the RH positives. Okay? That's what they are. Now, anyway, this is, for me, this was a good book because it put, all of the teachings right there together. Gospel of the Nazarenes. This is basically the same thing as the Gospel of the Holy 12. Same thing. Same thing. Same thing. No difference. Probiotics. Are there any good, parasites? That's really the main question. Are there really any good parasites? And this book tries to make a case that there are. Gardening, indoors by using hydroponics. And, there's another thing, micro uh, 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 plants, not fully developed plants, but just lots and lots and lots of young plants with micronutrients in them is going to be, hopefully a thing of the future for a lot of you. It may not be here that you're going to do it, but hey, it is going to be something that we're going to use. We're going to go back to the old way of doing things, not the way that you make yourself into a slave doing gardening, but more or less the way that you make yourself, be what I would call efficient at farming. And apparently you'll be able to do this if you know what you're doing. Anyway, that's just to name a few. And of course, my favorite books are going to be about Donald Marshall. And the reason for this is because everything, including the mafia, there's now a guy, let me just give you this info and then I'll get busy. There's now a guy that you can find on TikTok that says that he is the real John John. And that the John John that you think is John John, John Kennedy Jr., okay, that ain't him. In fact, that is Aristotle Onassis's bastard kid from some, I don't know, movie star that he was shacking up with, that he wouldn't even marry her. That was George. That's where the name George for his magazine comes from. You say that was George Onassis. If you look at him, he clearly looks Greek. He does not look like John John. And now apparently, because John John said, I'm talking about the mature John John that's like my age, said that basically he had a Hollywood career. And so it's interesting that there's now a woman on TikTok that's posting all these pictures of this kid that was in everything from That Girl to the courtship of Eddie's father to Brian Keith's show, I can't remember the name, Family Affair. I mean, he was literally in everything from about 69 to 72, maybe 68. And the kid looks like John John. The only thing is that he's got something wrong with his chin, his mouth, and his chin. And so, yes, they do have pictures of this John John earlier. And yes, he looks just like him, but it's not clear what the thing with his jaw is. Now, the elder John John has made for himself his own site, and he professes to be John John, and he does look like John John. But just know that the key to this whole thing, is that John John would have known his grandfather, Jack Bouvier. And if you look at Jack Bouvier, he looks just like Jack Bouvier, who also, his mother looked like Jack Bouvier. There is no mistaking the resemblance at all. But George Onassis, the one you think is John John that supposedly died in a plane wreck, that's not dead, whom rumors are constantly floating around that the little Trump, I'm talking about, from the book of Daniel, talking about that guy that, goes by that name, whose name was changed to that name, just for the record. His name was not Trump, it was Drumpf, just for the record. And there's a lot of information online that he died in 1989. What the John John stories are about, and this is why everybody should at least see this guy. I'm talking about the mature John John, my age. Okay? Everyone should see him because he will flat out tell you that everything in our government is about stealing one's identity. Now, this is why the clones, this is why the masks, this is why, all of the, Wild Wild West costumes, okay? Because that's what these people master in. They master in stealing people's identities. It's identity theft. And he'll go over and over and over this in almost every one of his videos, that the mafia stole his identity and gave it to his half-brother so that they could shift. Keeping in mind, Kennedy was one of the 13 families of the Illuminati. Anyway, they wanted to shift his money back over to them, and this is how they did it. They did it through Aristotle Onassis, who was already one of the richest men in the world and a Greek tycoon. And his son, George, looked exactly like him. The hairline is perfect. The Greek flowing hair that he had at one point in his life, where he looked like Alexander. You can find the pictures if you go to look for them. Anyway, there's no doubt in my mind, because I know what the stinking mafia is up to. You might not know. I'm not afraid of them because I'm telling you right now, I'm going to put them under my feet before this is over. I want them to know that's where they're going. They're going to be put under my feet. That's exactly where they're going. Because that's what they've earned for themselves with all of this terrible bad behavior. And apparently now they've got people that are coming out talking about this eclipse that's going to happen on the 8th. Now remember, the one that happened in 2017 happened in August. And then it went from Washington State down to, Charleston, South Carolina. And I actually saw that one. Now, this one that's coming isn't going to come that close to us. It's going to come closer. It's going to go literally, from Baja Peninsula up to New Hampshire. So you're going to get an X marks the spot. X marks the spot. And that's where you're, I'm sorry, I have forgotten the name of the city. But one of the reasons why the Mormons stopped on their way to Utah, and I want to say Missouri or someplace like that, is because they had a famous Mormon city, which was the capital city of North America. Now, these were not white people, okay? Because let's just get this straight. Tartaria was the place of white people. Tartaria is easily Russia, Northern Europe, and Canada. Yeah, that's where the Tartarian Emperor was. Get it? Tartarus, white people. Mm-hmm. So, like in that area there, shall we say, let's just say Missouri, okay? Not far from that famous city that is in the Book of Mormon. I cannot remember the name of it. I will not be able, and I'm not going to look it up. But that's where it was. Not far from where the Mississippi and the Missouri River, intersect, which is where the Cairo is. And this is why, people are like, well, wait a minute, was Egypt here or was it over there? And there's enough evidence to prove it was over here. But they keep putting the Middle East as the place where, all of this happened. Why they do that, I do not understand. But clearly, there is some history here in this country. I mean, just the fact that they can't prove that there's any Fertile Crescent anywhere near Iraq. There's no Fertile Crescent. It's just lies, really, when you get right down to it. They're just a bunch of lying, thieving bastards. They murder, they steal, and they lie. That's what they do. And that's exactly what it says in the Bible about Ishmael and Esau. Anyway, let's move on. I'm really sick of these bastards. All I will tell you is that I'm just going to go back to this for a minute, and then I'm moving on. My thing is this X marks the spot. That's a Freemasonic quote, if there ever was one. Who is it that has Twitter now has renamed Twitter X. Tesla boy. Think about it. X. So, they're advertising to you. They're trying to tell you, we're going to get that X on April 8th of this year. And remember the story that they always told you about Christmas is that this is where the son died for 3 days and was resurrected. This is Mystery Babylon the Great. I'm telling you right now, okay, once this happens and nothing happens, I hope that you people will just shut up and stop, believing these ridiculous prophecies that the only people that seem to be trying to fulfill them are the Satanists of the world. I mean, really, clearly, that's what's going on. So hopefully, everybody will just shut up and go back to work. Now, if that doesn't happen, and they do, attack the sun or the saints or whatever they're going to do, they're going to, apparently cut the heads of the saints and leave them to lie out there in the yard for 3 days. After 3 days, with the tractor beam, they're pulled up into the sky. Don't waste your time on me. I'm not interested in that. Your story is not my story. You understand? That's your story. It's not my story. I don't care about your story. Your story is retarded from the beginning to the end. I'm only interested in my story, and my story is putting you under my foot once and for all and making this place into a place that can be have natural law. Now, if we don't get it here and we need to go to a new earth to get it, that's fine with me. I'm okay with that. But I am not interested in serving the Anunnaki in any way, shape, or form. You have caused all the trouble in this realm. So no. My word to you is no. So, if you show up at my doorstep on the 8th of April, you're not going to get a welcome. You're not going to get a welcome. So, this is not my wishes, okay? I'm not a saint, but I am someone who cares about the universal laws that govern everything. And we need to return back to that. I don't care how we do it. I do care how we do it, but it's going to be done either way. Anyway, let's go on. So I'm going to continue on with Donald Marshall. Donald Marshall says that he is not a New Age savior. Nobody wants to be a savior. Furthermore, they believe I am a New Age savior for the end times, that I was going to save the world from something. According to Nostradamus prophecies, talking about the quatrains, the Illuminati consider Nostradamus the greatest prophet ever to walk the earth. They are in awe of him. I do not endorse their claims. I just want REM-driven cloning to stop, and these people face punishments for their crimes against humanity. That's reasonable to me. I really do not endorse such claims, but if it saves my life and yours, so be it. Well, thank you for that, Donald. In reality, the practicality, nobody wants to be a savior, not with such tyranny and evil such as this. We would rather all just be living normal lives without the knowledge and practice of REM-driven sleep cloning, which is used for torture, clone death spectacles, and sex with children. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. My friends on Facebook do not want to be heroes or saviors either. Nobody really does, but we do it out of our sense of duty, moral correctness, and our conscience would never rest knowing the true extent of evil in this world and doing nothing to end it. So all that Savior and Nostradamus prophecy talk, it is just the Illuminati. They like to quote prophecies and make them come true to make themselves feel special. Well, they can't really make it true if it's against our will. See, this is the thing. And Donald, you've already said this in my previous video. See, they can make us think that this is a true prophecy and then it might come true. But the reality is we know better now. So honestly, take your, tridents and stick them where the sun don't shine. Really. Stop picking on women and children, you goddamn bullies. Okay? Stop it. And, you will not be in the presence of women and children after this. And I can tell you right now, you don't need them. Because you know what? You can't procreate anyway. But I can tell you this, that you will not be allowed to join society again until you learn how to get control of yourself. But just remember that. Don't think there's going to be any exceptions, because there's not. Like I said, they're weird. I'm just relaying what they say, and I do not endorse the New Age savior claims. I'm just a normal guy who was unfortunate to be cloned when he had his foreskin removed at age 4. This could have happened to anyone. Thankfully, I had a very active imagination at the age of 5. And with the use of technology such as mind voice technology. Now listen, when they're talking about mind voice technology, that's the voice of God technology. We hadn't even begun on their technology from Tesla that they've got. All of this is connected to Drumpf, just so you know. The little Drumpf. This could have happened to anyone. It allowed me to make songs to keep perverts off of me. Mind voice technology is just a technology which can tune into your inner voice in your head. See articles by Prigg 2014 and New Science 2014, which discuss how scientists can listen to your inner voice. It is similar to how the mind voice technology works. Therefore, when you hear the sound of a guitar, the sound of drums, or any instrument for that matter, after hearing the sound, when you imagine the sound you heard, your REM-driven clone can replicate this sound with mind voice technology exactly. And I use mind voice technology to make many, many, many songs over the years. As I have said, and I'll say it again, technology today is very advanced. They're not telling you how advanced they are, but they are. How the Nostradamus prophecies shapes the lives of the Anunnaki. This is so you can understand how retarded they are. When I was a lot younger, I used to be a San Francisco 49ers fan. And even after that, I moved to a place where I could see their games regularly. And I remember thinking that this guy that took over for Bill Walton, uh, George Seifert, was retarded. And Christensen, the tight end, knew this. He became a sportscaster, and he used to call it stupid stitions. And this is what a lot of people in sports believe in. And now listen, because you're going to get an education of where their mental retardation comes from. Says also another reason they have not killed me is because the Illuminati said, if they do, everyone is going to know that I am telling the truth, which I am, with my right hand to God, and I cannot lie about this stuff. The things I have seen are too sinister and diabolical. It would make me as bad as them if I did. Furthermore, because they follow the Nostradamus prophecies religiously, they have told me that they believe anyone helping me is considered part of the army of light. And again, to hurt or degrade anyone helping me, considered part of the army of light, would incur the wrath of God. And that to hurt anyone considered part of the army of light will degrade their lives. They will suffer misfortune and entire ruin as their eternal soul, as will their eternal soul. These are just some of the interpretations of the Nostradamus quatrains they have relayed to me. These people are beyond crazy, zealot, and religious fanatics. Nevertheless, the main point to remember by all of this is that you are safe and that they cannot hurt you. They are scared to hurt you as well as kill me, because prophecies have shaped their lives and the lives of their ancestors for hundreds of years. Though we haven't seen Donald since, I think it was 2012, actually, maybe 2013, but we haven't seen him in a while. Furthermore, and practically, I have told you too many people that this is the extent to which technology has developed our current day, and it is kept secret and hidden from the public for nefarious purposes. And this is what the Illuminati do. REM, sleep-driven cloning. I have been spreading this information since 2011, and not one of these high-profile people, government officials or celebrities, figures, has issued a public statement against me or taken me to court over libel charges because I'm telling the truth. He's basically talking about who he sees in the underground bunkers of Canada. And he did see Trump, and he did see, what's his name, Putin, and many others. Their statements would not hold in court. I have also told over 1 million Arabs. I have appeared on radio interviews with Vincent Eastwood, talking about Eastwood's kid, Clint's kid, Janice Barcelo, Lisa Phillips on the Cry Freedom radio show. I have reached audiences as many as 238,000 views on Vinnie Eastwood's show, Vincent Eastwood 2013 alone. However, I must stress that YouTube reduces the view count of my interviews ever so often in order to suppress the truth, so that my interviews do not get featured on the platform. See, this is what they do to me. Nevertheless, there is safety in numbers, and rest assured there are new people waking up to the disclosure of REM-driven sleep cloning every day, and therefore you can share and spread this information without any worry about facing reprisals from the Illuminati. Even if you do not believe that it is in fact their benefit, their beliefs in Nostradamus prophecies, which is saving you and I from the Illuminati. HIV and AIDS. Okay, pay attention. It has been cured. So have many forms of cancer. Now, is a good is also a good time to share with the reader that situation is not doom and gloom. In their quest to perfect technology, science, and medicine, the Illuminati discovered the cure for AIDS and HIV. Well, you know, since they manufactured it and patented it, I'm thrilled to death that they could come up with a cure. Cancer, except pancreatic cancer, Alzheimer's, dementia, and many more debilitating diseases which humanity suffers with. They related the fact that they found more debilitating disease which humanity suffers with. They relayed the fact that they found the cure for HIV and AIDS by stimulating the cells with an oxygenated, rich environment, because disease viruses cannot thrive in oxygenated, rich environment. In layman's terms, Magic Johnson was cured from AIDS this way, and they use him as a spokesperson to sell the retrovirus pills, which they know is not effective. However, the greed these people have knows no bounds, and because they receive too many donations from HIV and AIDS, as well as cancer donations, they do not announce they have cured these diseases publicly. And as I've told you and will continue to tell you, technology is far, far, far advanced than what you currently see around you. With the help of the good people of the earth, I promise to release these technologies for the benefit of all mankind. And all reading this disclosure can hold me to this. You know, the blue light therapy from the TV show V. That's what he's describing now. They're going to use frequencies to clean up, kind of like what Bones did in Star Trek when he would, you know, wave that electrical, you know, device over these people where he could tell what they had and then he could dial in the cure. Medbed technology, it's the same thing. It's blue light frequency technology, which really, if you think about it, isn't that much different from what they used in Hawaii, except that it's way more invasive. So it has different settings. I just know this is the technology that they can use on you. Let us hope that, like in the TV show V, that they're not going to use it against you as a weapon. Remember, they've already used a directed microwave energy weapon on me. Caused me to crawl on my hands and knees. Yeah. Because I wanted out of their system, in which I was told I would have to die to get out of their system. Well, I guess they're going to get their chance on April the 8th. I hope you are now beginning to understand why this is a world emergency and why these corrupt people must be ousted and overthrown. I also hope you understand why you must not riot or cause chaos, because as I said at the beginning of this disclosure, I write this to empower good people of the world against tyranny, which exists all around us in our world today. I did not write this to cause chaos, public dissension, and anarchy. Good people of the world will inherit the earth once these corrupt people are overthrown. Therefore, under no circumstances must you destroy the world when you are going to inherit it. No matter how angry this disclosure makes you, no matter how angry the diabolical people who commit these crimes against humanity make you feel, let's make sure this goes smoothly. Keep spreading and sharing this information until this disclosure reaches the armed forces. No, no, no. I have zero confidence in them. In fact, if you'll see, they are replacing them with foreigners as we speak. Yeah. Until the armed forces bring these corrupt people to their knees, we are about to inherit the earth. By all means, let's ensure everything goes smoothly. Now that you understand how important this disclosure is and that the overthrow of these corrupt individuals must progress smoothly, I'll continue. The behavior of high-profile people at the cloning center. Oh, let's learn a little bit about that. The high-profile individuals who attend these REM-driven clone gatherings in their sleep have nothing better to do than to show off in disgusting ways. They have no shame, and it seems nothing embarrasses them. Some REM sleep-driven cloning center attendees sit in the stands of an unused arena smaller than a hockey rink, but it still has the capacity to seat between 300 and 400 people. There is dirt in the center of the rink where ice would be. They have frightened REM-driven clones of children walk into the middle of the dirt rink to be victimized for a bizarre and disgusting spectacle. Sometimes they have animals like dogs have sex with REM-driven clone children, while a man holds the dogs on a leash so that it wouldn't bite the child on the back of the neck, which I have seen happen before. They all try to outdo each other in their levels of depravity. To be evil is to be cool to them. Now you know why they must go under my feet. The ringleaders of the cloning center, I will now discuss the ringleaders, but before I name names, please understand that I am not someone who has collated stories and evidence together over the internet. I really do not need to do this. Every time I enter REM sleep, the ringleaders at the cloning center transfer my consciousness to a duplicate clone version of me. I have seen and talked with these monsters over the course of 34 years as REM-driven clones at the cloning center. However, I do understand that for the average reader, without understanding how far medicine, science, and technology has advanced, without seeing or hearing people other than me discuss the crimes the ringleaders in the cloning centers commit, it is very difficult to imagine that this is what these high-profile people are involved in and do. Nevertheless, I guarantee it, this is the true extent and the prevalence of evil in our world. Their public personas and the public images is well managed by their PR teams. Therefore, the average person, it is difficult to imagine these people in any other way but positive. But these people behind closed doors are the most evil. This is what I'm talking about, these, double lives that, Freemasons and Jesuits live. Sick and twisted people I have ever had the misfortune of encountering. It is also difficult to take in what I'm saying because I am not a public figure, nor do I have the influence of public image these people have. The general populace has never met or heard of me or known who I am. If this was the case, my eyewitness testimony alone will be enough. However, I do not understand that we are dealing with highly advanced technologies, thousands of years advanced compared to what the general public is accustomed to. And because of this, I provide references for the reader. I provide references for the reader to have something to collaborate what I am disclosing, and provide references for the reader to see past the illusions these people have created. Moreover, as consciousness science kept hidden demonstrates, remember that it is the heart and not the brain which is the most powerful center of the body. The heart is the most intelligent. It has the ability to receive precognition, intuition about a future event before it actually occurs. Therefore, if you find that your heart is in resonance with the names mentioned, do not fight it with the ego of the mind. When our egos get in the way, it overrides our heart's intuition. Your heart is capable of discerning the truth of an event before your brain becomes conscious of it. By all means, listen to your heart and allow your brain to naturally develop its intuition. It is to be the coherence between your heart first and then your mind center, which will allow you to access the intuition. The references I provide for the reader collaborate what I am about to say, includes appeal from survivors of Canadian genocide. This is the name of a book. Tila Tequila, Missing Children at Cloning Centers, Royal Babylon at Heathcote and Williams. And this movie will blow your mind. Well, will blow your whatever mind. Effing mind. Watch all the above videos and you will easily see all that I disclose. In appeal from survivors of Canadian genocide interviewed, listen to the indigenous people. Stemas and Watcheks speak about the pain and torment they have suffered under the crown. Actually, I know about this. They brought us an international suit against Elizabeth, and the main witness was murdered. So I don't guess it ever happened. The Vatican, the government, the churches of Canada. See, it doesn't say these churches or those churches. It says the churches of Canada. That's all of them. 50 to 150 indigenous children have gone missing because of the involvement of the Crown, the Vatican, the government, and the churches of Canada. And all these factions involved know this. Tila Tequila is a television personality who has attended the cloning centers as an REM-driven clone since childhood. In Tila Tequila's radio show, the audio is very clear for the majority of her disclosure. She was also frightened, therefore she sounds most animated. However, her words are clear at the following points of the audio. I also provide a transcript in the appendices section, Appendix A. So he's talking about at this particular time I'm not going to do this. I've shown you where to get this for free. Get it for free. And if you want to go look it up on YouTube, maybe it's there. I don't really know. It doesn't matter because I've got it here right now. It doesn't matter. cloning centers and they take your children. There are these cloning centers. I'm not even talking about child molestation here. They take your children. They not only molest them, men, F them, and make them shoot each other. There is a point where you cannot just turn the other way. This stuff is going on and you go, oh, well, that's their problem. Let's just turn the other cheek. How long are you going to turn the other cheek until it happens to your own freaking children? And of course, now she's got a child. Do you know why they love children? Because they are innocent souls. They are innocent. They are the most innocent, pure beings in this planet. They are not harmed by anything. They are new to the world. Well, that's not true, because if you've got mafia doctors treating them, they are already in danger. Bright-eyed, pure, innocent children, that is these disgusting pedophiles, these clone rings, these cloning centers, satanic rituals. Brownsville, Texas, there are many of the cloning centers where they take your children that go missing. Royal Babylon by Heathcote Williams addresses the fact that for Brits, despite their inordinate pride about their tradition, it is often revealed that they know little about it than anyone. The documentary then goes on to address the fact that Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, now this is the creepy old, Elizabeth's husband, the Greek guy, another Greek. The documentary then goes on to address the fact that Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, has a lust for blood sports, which includes shooting endangered wildlife and mammals, which he considers culling. The documentary is also notable for the demonstrating to the viewer that Queen Elizabeth II redistributed as much as $2.1 million for her private income from 276 people from the Merseyside and Lancashire. These people had no will, so their property was grabbed. You see how that works? The same is true for the Duchy of Cornwall. If you die without making a will, everything you possess will go to Prince Charles. Furthermore, Queen Elizabeth is the largest landowner on earth. Queen Elizabeth II, head of the state of the United Kingdom and other states and territories, is the legal owner of 66, I don't even know how to say this number, 66,000 million acres of land. 1/6 of the Earth's non-ocean surface. She is the only person on Earth who owns whole countries, and who owns countries that are not her own domestic territory. This land ownership is separate from her role as the head of state, is different from other monarchies where no such claim is made. Norway, Belgium, Denmark. The value of her land holding is 17.6 trillion pounds approximately. In this movie will blow your effing mind. Readers with a deeper knowledge of the Illuminati and the agenda of the Illuminati will easily spot the minor inaccuracies in the documentary. However, the documentary provides a good reference and foundation for anyone new to the topic of the Illuminati and their agendas for the world. Documentary demonstrates how the world is currently a deception within a deception coded in reverse psychology. It gives widespread insight into the world, to the royal family of England and their lineage. See, I've been telling you forever, and make no mistake about it, Elizabeth is an O negative, Charles is an O negative. We don't know about Philip or William or any of the other retards that are part of the crown. But we can tell you that those two are, because that was quoted at a time where there was really no reason for them to lie about it. And this goes back into Time magazine when Charles was just a child. Furthermore, the documentary provides information that the world's most popular religions have been infiltrated with Illuminati dogma in secret. Now, understand that word dogma, that's just another word of saying Canaanite. The documentary details how some modern Christian Jews, Muslims do not yet recognize their common enemy, because that enemy, invisible until now, the enemy hides within their own religion. The enemy also hides within the activist community, anti-Illuminati movements. It finances big budget documentaries and movements. The end game is to sell a divisive, creating strong disagreement, anti-capitalistic, atheistic message, and deliver trusting followers right into the lap of a communist one government, new world order. The enemy is the Illuminati. The documentary also details today the bloodlines of this unholy alliance are on the final stage of it, establishing one world religion, one world government, and one world ruler. That is, if the good people of the world do nothing to stop them. The Windsor, which, by the way, that's not their real name. They're actually Nazis. They're Germans. This is why the one that abdicated because of his spinster American wife, Wallace Simpson, that one, Edward, I believe it was his name, he was absolutely a Nazi sympathizer, and we now know that. But it doesn't matter. Allen Dulles brought in 1,600 Nazis to keep them from being exterminated after World War II, and gave them high-ranking positions in our government. You don't think they're there in South America? Think again. It says the Windsor Royals are at the control of the web of deceit. It is a known fact that Adam Weishaupt, the founder of the Illuminati, took refuge and got assistance from the German Saxe-Coburg-Gotha royal family. Saxe-Coburg-Gotha changed their name to Windsor in 1917. The Windsor's public image is a facade to hide the cesspool from which they operate behind the scenes. Now remember, when Byrd was at the North Pole, who was he dealing with? Enlil's Nazi bunch. The question, is there such thing as a good German? See, this is the kind of fight that my mother and I have, because she thinks when I say all Rh positives, are wicked, she thinks that, that's not a fair assessment, that I don't know that. But I mean, it told you that in the Bible, that they are descendants of Cain and that they're a serpent seed. They have a hive mind, and this is what the problem is. If you can break free of your hive, good luck to you. I want you to. If you can break free of the hive, go ahead and do it. I'm just not sure. And after watching the 100, I'm even less sure. Your deception and your programming is so deep, not to mention your blood. They say the life is in the blood, but your blood doesn't seem to protect you because you don't have no knowledge of things that are going around you. You just do what you're told, like a clone. And we know that in the 1900s, that's what you did, and 18 years later, we have the First World War, that you were cloned. I'm just saying. Believe whatever you want to. For anyone who thinks they know the royal family of England, did you know that still to this day they have a person appointed called the groom of the stool? What is the groom of the stool, you may ask? A groom of the stool is responsible for the stools. In other words, the commodes, the kind you sit on, the kind you expel. In other words, a groom of the stool wipes the royal bottoms. Oh my gosh. Really? If that ain't retarded, I don't know what is. I have a grandson, 12 years old, who has more diseases than you can count. And I can promise you he can wipe his butt. The kind that you sit on, okay, I'm not going to read that again. The above has been confirmed to me by Prince Charles of Wales himself as an REM clone at the cloning center. And I quote, it gives you the feeling of being completely taken care of. When I asked Prince Charles as a REM-driven clone why they still have that, but don't just take my word for it. Research the groom of the stool. Research it. You'll find out. The royal family of England, as most of the readers have already guessed, okay, these are descendants of Marduk. Let's just be clear. If they're descendants of Marduk, that means they're descendants of Enlil, Anu. They're just Anunnaki. And, Donald Marshall has already said that they consider themselves to be the fornicators in the Bible, which is what, Genesis 6, Genesis 6:5, and then we get all of that right after Cain, right? Okay, I have said REM-driven cloning started back in 1945, and it was just a political thing. Donald, no offense, but it started when they got here, way before that. No offense to you. But Queen Elizabeth II has been involved in REM-driven cloning since its inception. Yes. Queen Elizabeth II, Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, and Charles of Wales are the worst of them. They are unbelievable, depraved perverts, all showing off to the celebrities who attend these REM-driven clone gatherings. Elizabeth has the REM sleep-driven clone children at the cloning center call her Lilibet. Lilibet. That's what she wants to be called. And Elizabeth, as an REM-driven clone herself, does ungodly things to these REM-driven clone children. Some she fakes being nice to. Some is terrible to. And as an REM sleep-driven clone, Elizabeth cuts these REM-driven clone children with swords while they scream. The decent people at the cloning centers who have had their consciousness transferred into their duplicate REM-driven clones and are against their will, like I am, they are terrified to say anything against Elizabeth and her cronies. Most of these decent people also have their children's consciousness transferred into their REM-driven duplicate clones. And Elizabeth and her cronies hold these decent people's children as hostage to be torn apart, clone death after clone death, if they have the slightest inkling of informing anyone. But as Elizabeth and her cohort have been torturing me as an REM-driven asleep clones anyway, I will disclose all that they do. Now, here we go. We're going to name names. Here's Putin. Vladimir Putin is also there. As an REM-driven clone, he loves to put fear or torture and death into people. He is essentially a perverted coward himself. Most of the famous people who attended the cloning centers as REM-driven clones are ashamed to speak or be seen by me there very much, because they are ashamed of the perverse and disgusting gatherings. I am a decent person even when my consciousness is transferred to my REM duplicate clone alternative, and I will not participate in these depraved acts. So they use me as an example and torture me for being a good person. They have drugged my REM-driven clone, and as I've mentioned, because consciousness transfer is real, and because consciousness is linked, therefore everything feels real as real. When I am drugged as an REM-driven clone, I behave exactly as any person would on hard drugs. Although I have never taken any drugs in my original body, my vision is blurry and my balance affected. They have used this as a method of having me do disgusting things in a blurred state, videotaping these dirty acts and editing a highlight reel which also depicts me doing disgusting things to show the world. When the world learns of their depraved natures and their public personas are gathered so that I can be despised as much as they will be. When the entire world learns about this. Furthermore, because of the microchip inserted in my REM-driven clone, they mind control me like a Manchurian candidate. Using MK Ultra technology, this is Nazi technology, just for the record. You know, Bird talking about these men as if they were beautiful, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, you know, beauties. You know, all that glitters is not gold, people. And you know, I've had people tell me, oh, you know, they're brilliant, they're so smart. No, they're wise until evil. That's it. Which is far more advanced and declassified MK Ultra techniques, MK Ultra Compendium 1980. Mentioned online today with references MK Ultra techniques in the 1970s, Renz 2001, for a detailed explanation of how implanted microchip works, how these chips allow the programmer to control victims. CSIS, Canadian Intelligence, are all involved. They have REM-driven clones too, including a lot of commissioners and Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper himself. They do what Elizabeth says. They seem to follow her every whim without question. It doesn't matter who you are. If you have a cute child or a talented child with an imagination, creativity, and money-making potential, such as business smarts, song-making ability, literary oratory ability, etc., you name it, so long as your child has money-making value to them, they will send for blood record of your child, agitate the blood cells over and over until a duplicate clone of your child is grown. They will then transfer your child's duplicate clone body from the tank where they have grown onto a steel rack. The steel rack contains 5 rows, and each row holds a duplicate clone body. Once your child goes into deep sleep in his or her own original body, and once the REM sleep is 90 to 110 minutes after they first fall asleep, the Illuminati are alerted to the fact by a green light above your child's duplicate clone, at the cloning center, and they then transfer your child's consciousness to the REM-driven duplicate clone. This is the point where the prime evils molest. I love, they're calling them prime evils. That's what they should have called them in 100. The 100. Prime evils. They called them primes. Prime Philip, prime this one, prime that one. They should have called them prime evils. Again, O negatives, just like in the TV show. And so your children are being molested in their sleep as REM-driven clones, and then they suppress the children's memories or implant false memories. And they tell you where to go to look for this, on how false memories can be implanted. So your children wake up not remembering dreams from the previous night. And so if they do remember anything, the memory is false. These depraved acts very much stunt children's development. It causes them to have learning disabilities, explains depression, loneliness, suicidal thoughts, and all kinds of side effects. Okay, so we've got just a little bit more time to go. The cloning center is a pedophile's paradise. That's in Canada, people. Not saying they don't have them all over the world. And it must be stopped. Elizabeth secretly owns a few music companies too, says Universal and others. With bands under contract, she forces me under a knife to compose music for them. If I can't, she will stab my REM-driven clone, burn my REM-driven clone, and have her pervert thugs smash my REM-driven clone body there. As Erickson 2013 demonstrated. Because consciousness is linked, and consciousness transfer leads the person who has had their consciousness transferred to still perceive reality as real. In the new body, I have the same biological and physiological responses as I would have if these attacks were occurring to my original body. This has caused me to have heart damage and severe debilitating headaches. Because my memories were released to me, I can now also remember all my past driven clone memories since age 5, as well as the previous night's REM driven clone memories. When I have my consciousness transferred to the cloning centers, which causes severe stress to my mental psyche and mental well-being. As unbelievable as the above statement sounds regarding Elizabeth's ownership of music companies, just go and listen to the song Abandoned, performed by Boondocks on YouTube. There are two Abandoned. Oh, I'm sorry, I said Abandoned. It's Abandoned versions. The version you seek can be found the reference section uploaded by Rainman JHOF 2011. Skip to 246 or listen to the whole song. Pay particular attention at 2 minutes and 46 seconds, and you will hear loud and clearly Elizabeth say, "Drop the mother effer in bass." That's Elizabeth's voice. You can compare it to any of her Christmas speeches. That is her. Elizabeth said the above as a REM-driven clone at the cloning centers. I know, I was there. They got so confident that nobody would ever find out about their REM-driven clone shenanigans that they even had me sing on a song I produced, Where You Go, Fort Minor Murdoch dubstep remix, available on YouTube. Tequila, and I sing on this remix track as REM-driven clones. I start to sing at 1:44 onwards. You can compare the voice you hear in the song with Vinnie Eastwood's interview. That is me. In both cases, the song was recorded at the Cloning Center. Now they're going to talk about Bernie Mac. I've got about 5 minutes left. One good person at the Cloning Center, Bernie Mac, also an REM-driven clone of himself, who was an actor and comedian, tried to stand up for me and speak up for me, saying cloning and torturing people here, it's not right to do a human being. And this place is the devil. Bernie Mac also tried to have others join him in speaking out against the REM-driven clone torture zone while he was having his consciousness transferred to his REM clone version. Elizabeth and Philip tortured him for 4 to 5 hours continuously at the Cloning Center as an example of their power. Bernie Mac had an aneurysm brain bleed the next day and died. This is one of the aspects of REM-driven clone torture. If you torture a REM-driven clone continuously for hours on end, you will cause the person to die in the original body from heart attack or aneurysms while they sleep. You know what? I'm going to stop right here. Let me just look up. That's page 55. Up. Here we go. Now I'm on page 24, but remember, I got to go back to 25. Here we go. This is what I wanted to get to for you. Imagine this. Here you are in America, and the elite are combining American, Canadian, and Mexico into one country. The North American Union and the American people do not want anything, do not know anything about it. It is not even in the press. They would rather talk about Rosie O'Donnell or Donald Trump calling each other names than discussing, wait a minute, this is not what I want to cover. Okay, it's not on this one. I have to look for it elsewhere, but I can promise you it is in his videos. I've seen it with my own eyes. Trump's there. Donald has seen Trump there. And from what John Jr. says about all of this stealing of identities, when Trump died in '89, it's highly possible that they already had a chipped, what is it called? Like the Keanu Reeves movie, not The Matrix, but the other one, a replicant. So it's a replication. Now remember, when they do this, they're not transferring the soul. They're just transferring DNA. And this, clone can easily function in the world. Now, Donald Trump is about to be 80 years old, or he's already 80 years old. I don't know. Then there's the subject of Barron, who's 6'9" at what, 17 years old? If he ain't a Nephilim, I don't know what is. 6'9" at 17 years old, he'll easily be taller than Shaq. 7'2". Anyway, just real quick, in this video, if you go back to the beginning, I'm going to talk about X marks the spot. I'm going to talk about the sun dying for 3 days and then resurrected after the 3rd day. I'm going to talk about that because that's probably the big plan that they've got for the saints coming up on April the 8th. Either way, I'm going to put them under me. They're going to be under my feet before this is over. I promise you that. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. That's going to do it. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you learned a few things about this. And I'm going to wait till the evening to post this because I've got something I've got to go do right now. Thank you very much. Have a great day.